You are now listening to Talk Your Jits podcast.
And welcome back to Talk Your Jits podcast. This podcast is, as the name implies, all about Jiu Jitsu. I'm your host, Lamar Smith, and today's guest is a black belt who trains at Cal Summit Martial Arts, located in Bowmansville, Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, Cowboy Sleeman.
Hey, what's going on, bro? How are you?
Man, what's going on, sir? How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Excellent. Always training, so always a good day.
Always a good day. But first and foremost, man, I'd like to, thank you for coming on and doing the episode with me today. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Not a problem. So let's just get right into it. If you want to formally introduce yourself again, by all means, and let's hear about your jiu-jitsu journey.
Yeah, okay. So my name is Kyle Sleeman. I'm from just outside of the Toronto, Canada area. And I've been training martial arts 35 years. I'm just turned 40 years old. I started when I was born, essentially. My father was a martial artist, so I grew up in the lifestyle from day one. And I did a bunch of striking arts growing up. Found judo as a teenager, did that for a while. And then I guess in my early 20s, I found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I guess I was 21. Found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and was hooked on that. Been training 6 days a week since, and that's been 18 years ago. So yeah, lots of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, lots of jiu-jitsu. And so one thing I guess I can ask you this too, because I do get people who train different martial arts, but it just seemed like jiu-jitsu is the one that like resonated them the most. So what drew you and kept you with jiu-jitsu?
Well, essentially, like I was 10 years old. I watched the UFC 1 live on the black box with my parents in my basement with all his buddies. So I was intrigued with grappling since the beginning. And also, my best friend growing up, about 10 houses up the street from me, his grandfather was a coral belt in judo. And so he used to always teach me judo through my life. And until I guess I was a teenager, I really started getting into judo. And I started learning about jiu-jitsu and things like that, and hearing about it, and, UFC and stuff like that. So one day I was finished judo class and I went to get an ice cream, actually. And I was like 21 in the heat of summer. And I seen this sign and it says Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I was like, whoa, awesome. The first time I've ever seen it. So I walked in there and they're like, yeah, we just opened up basically. And that's it. I was in there right away. But those guys at the time, it wasn't really Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There was Justin Bruckman, Richard Nanku, Antonio Carvalho. Those guys were training for Shuto in Japan. And it was prize fighting. It was MMA. And basically I just jumped into the mix. And that's how I started my jiu-jitsu journey is getting beat up a lot.
Yeah, I mean, being a black belt, you definitely got beat up.
And that's the thing. So I came from, 20 years of other arts. So like I had been competing since I've been 10 years old in other arts and judo and striking arts. And then when I went and did this jiu-jitsu or, / MMA back then, I realized, holy shit, man, I got my ass handed to me on a silver platter and realized right then that like there's something to this. There's something magical about this. And it's there's two people in this world. You either run from that adversity or you embrace it. And I chose to embrace it because that's who I am at heart. I'm a martial artist since the day I was born. And so I realized right away that it was the grappling arts with the submissions like that. That's the key. So
definitely. Yeah, it's kind of the same for me. Like I sporadically trained different, like doing different martial arts growing up. And then when I finally landed on jiu-jitsu, it was just like, yeah, like you said, it was something more to it, because my first experience actually training was like an open mat, and the first guy I rode with was like twice my age, skinny guy, and much older, and he was mopping me. He's a blue
Yeah.
belt. He was mopping me. I'm like, no, bro. There's no way. Like, there's no way I'm getting mopped by this old guy. And then I rode with someone who was, smaller and younger. Same thing. Got mopped. And it was just like,
Wait a second. Yeah.
what the hell? It's like, no, I got weight over these guys. I got strength over these guys, and they're just like just destroying me. And I'm like, yeah, it could have been the same thing. Like, I could have just ended it. Like, nah, this ain't for me. I'm like, there's no way in hell, blah, blah. But I was like, nah, man, I gotta figure this out. I gotta
Yeah.
like, no, there's no way in hell that these little guys beat me.
Yeah.
So
And that's the thing. There's two types of people. There's the person that says, screw this, and their ego, it's too much on their ego that they just avoid it altogether. Right.
Mhm.
Or you say, holy shit, like this is literally the closest thing to superpowers that you can get. Right. So like, why
Yeah.
wouldn't you embrace that? Right. So yeah, that's why we're kind of a small community and we're one of a kind, and we got to stick together.
Definitely. It's very tight knit community. To add to that, because I've met nothing but amazing people. Since
Yeah.
I started, since I started training, since I started doing this podcast, it's like everyone's just been like utterly supportive and amazing, and it's like I don't see that nowhere else.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know we've talked before, and I know you compete, and I know you have like your own super fights and stuff, right?
Yep.
So let's talk about that. Like, how did all that start?
Well, again, it's just kind of like being involved in the martial arts my entire life. There's steps to journeys, and it comes to a point where, like, yeah, you're in your journey, you're far enough along that you start organizing events. And like, I have a lot of students that are coming up in the ranks, blue, purple, brown belts, and they need to display their skills in front of an audience. So I thought, you know what? Why don't I like run my own event and do that, right? And the guy that owns the club that I'm with, he has ran multiple events in the past. So he's kind of like teaching me as we go. We're working together. So it's like I'm matchmaking, and then he's doing the entertainment aspect of it. So it's a joint effort. It's not, not just me, obviously. It takes a lot of people to get a show done. But the thing is, like, we're so involved in the community that's the next step, is just giving people a platform to display their jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's not too many of those, like, I guess you want to say smaller events that people can go to, to display jujitsu, because right now it's just like ADCC or stuff that that UFC does now, or EBIs, but never nothing really like local, unless it's like a big tournament that's
Yeah.
in the area at that time. So
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Like, it's all about, for us, it's like, it's all about just getting out there and having fun and doing jujitsu. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you're not out there dying. Nobody's breaking your arm. Like, we're out there having fun. And yeah, it's just like, the more shows that we can get, the better it is for everybody involved. Right?
Definitely.
So
Definitely. And that's I kind of like looked at the idea of, like, what goes into hosting like jujitsu events, and the venue, the referees, the medical staff, and there's a lot of background stuff that people really don't realize that goes on when it comes to running these tournaments. And I was just like, man, I don't think I'm exactly ready to start throwing events like that. But I would love to eventually try to do something like that, something that
yeah,
can
see,
happen
I'm
a little bit
lucky
more
that
frequent.
I'm lucky that the guy that I work with there, who owns the academy that I teach at, this is nothing new to him. He's been doing this for a lot of years. So yeah, he just, I kind of follow his lead, and I make the matchups. I got access to the matches and the fighters and things like that. But the entertainment aspect at our show, that's all him. And Brendan Kelogenic, he's big shout out to him. Without him, none of this would exist. So
Shouts out to that guy. So what's been the most difficult aspect of hosting these fights and tournaments, and or even even for fights for yourself, like what's been like your most difficult like part of it?
Well, host for like doing the events, the hardest part about it is matching people up that are going to be a good matchup.
Mm-hmm.
We're not trying to do one-sided stuff. We're trying to do good matchups. Um, I also need to have backup fighters because if there's going to be 4 pullouts, and I got to have a backup for every match,
Mm-hmm.
essentially, right? So there's a lot of stuff like that goes on. Trying to deal with this in between teaching classes and in between my own job. I still work 40 hours a week as well, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's really hard to juggle, but someone's got to do it.
Because because I can only imagine just just the few tournaments that I've been to, and just the chaotic the chaotic aspect of it when it comes to matchmaking, because you can get a list of people, like you can get 8 or 9 people in one bracket, and then you show up, no one's there. It's like maybe 1 or 2 people, so you have to kind of make all these quick fly adjustments. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so for my own competition, the hardest part, I guess, was probably competing during my blue belt and early purple belt days,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't really have a game developed yet,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't really know the ins and outs of the rules yet, or I didn't. I know a lot of people still don't at brown belt or even black belt. They don't know the rules deep of competition,
Mm-hmm.
and you can never actually do well in competition unless you really know the rules,
Right.
right? And so I found that I had to spend a lot of years figuring out the game,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to spend a lot of years too figuring out the mental game. I had to do a lot of sports psychology studying
Mm-hmm.
to really get control of what I'm doing. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like I had to really harness my jujitsu. I had to organize my jujitsu in order for me to compete at a decent level.
Right. It's yes, because competing and training is like 2 different animals. Because
Yeah. Um. Yes and no. Like
mm-hmm.
in a sense, it is because you're out to win. But ultimately, I compete as much as possible, and I just see it as open mats.
Right.
I'm just
Right.
going out there. I'm doing a 6 minute, 10 minute, whatever the match is. I'm going out there and I'm going hard for that time, plain and
Mm-hmm.
simple. And it's just open mats. So one thing I figured out too is you cannot ever control the outcome of a match. So you should never ever stress whether you're going to win or lose. That's already a mental block,
Yeah.
right? So you should just know that, oh, I'm going to go out there and compete, or I'm going to go roll hard for 6 minutes. The word competition throws people for a loop sometimes. If you say, oh, I'm going to go roll hard for 6 minutes, everything's cool. But the second you throw the word competition in, boom, you get an adrenaline dump and heart starts going. And it's right. That's the psychology that people need to overcome, you know?
Hmm. I mean, that's a definitely a good way to look at it, because yeah, because we throw that word around a lot. Competing, competition, or
Yeah,
super
it's another
fighter or
role.
whatever.
It's
Yeah,
another role.
it's just another role.
Yeah,
Just another
that's it.
role.
Yeah, that's all
Because
it is.
yeah, just it's just literally like you say, it's open mat. It's like you're visiting another school for open
Yeah,
mat.
like and when I like here's a thing sometimes in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go hard for the 6 minutes or 7 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it is. I'm going hard. If I win, I've worked hard enough to earn that. If I lose, that's okay because you earned that shit. I've worked so hard that if you beat me, man, good for you.
Right.
And it's also my opportunity to show people how you act in defeat,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's about displaying jujitsu, right? Even in loss, it's your time to display what being a martial artist is all about,
Yeah.
right? So who cares about the outcome? Just go fight hard,
Yeah,
right?
that's the best way to look at it, because I've done 2 tournaments. One was, I guess you want to say, it was a best 2 out of 3. I came in second in that one, and then another one was like a 3-man bracket, came in third in that one. But at first it was kind of like, damn man, I lost, but at the same time it's like I had a hell of a good time out there. met some amazing people, had some, damn good matches, and was like, all right, well, let's get back at this next week.
See, one thing, winning and losing, there's no greater thing about winning than there is losing. I'll tell you why. Because if you win, you just beat somebody that you're better than.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the pride in that?
Right.
You beat somebody that you're better than. Cares?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you hung in there on somebody who's better than you hung in there, you grinded out, you made it to the end, you made it to that buzzer, you got something to be proud of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all depends on where you are in your journey and how developed your mental game is. Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because even in class, rolling with underbelts, I don't roll to go for finishes. If we're rolling for 5 minutes, we're just gonna work for that 5 minutes. If you want to go for submissions, by all means, I'll probably go for a submission like the last 20 seconds or something like that. But no, I love the work.
Exactly.
Because if I go out there and just steamroll through everybody, I'm not learning nothing. They're not learning nothing, and we don't want that.
So I like to also like if you and I were gonna roll right now,
Mm-hmm.
we both have to remember in the training room, we both have to remember that we're entering the role for two different purposes.
Mm-hmm.
You have things that you're working on to develop, and so do I. It's not about winning and losing. It's not about, oh, I got to get the submission. It's not even about just like moving for the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You're working on development, skill development. You know what I'm saying? So when I enter a role, I already know for the next 2 weeks, all my roles are working on guard pass chains. So if I pass your guard, boom, I let you escape right away and get your guard back. And then I'm working on specific chains, working on understanding your reactions to certain movements to create more of a chain. So that's what I'm doing when I roll, is I'm creating systems and chains based upon most common reactions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of just like you said, like rolling and submitting, like there's no point, right? It's all about it's skill development, right? That's what you want to do, is develop your skills. And you want to put in that hard work and that hard conditioning for competing. You do that off the mats. You do that in the conditioning room, like running and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. Because, no one wants to be no one's punching bag. And, like you said, I'm not going to gain nothing if I'm, steamrolling through everybody who steps on the mats. Like, no, I like to get that work in. And if I'm whoever I'm rolling with, it's always teaching, we always a teaching moment. Like if I catch you in something, we reset. If I catch you again, I'll let it go. It's like, okay, look, let's fix this. That way you get better. That forces me to get better because it's coming, and we continue and we grow.
Yeah, so we have that type of training, and then like when like I'm specifically getting ready for competition, like I'm 10 days out from the IBJJF Pans in Orlando.
Okay.
And like my competition training leading up to that is completely different than how I lead my students.
Okay.
Right. So my competition training leading up to that is myself and all the other, not all the other, but a number of other black belts around the Toronto area that are also competing in IBJJF events. We get together and we train hard. We put in long, hard, grueling, vicious rounds. And I basically roll 60 to 90 minutes, 5 to 6 days a week, minimum. Minimum. And then 2 days of conditioning on top of it. And you're not always going to be fresh. You're going to wake up some days and can barely get out of bed, but you got to suck that shit up. You got to get it done, right? You got to get in there. You got to take your lumps. But that's completely different than how I teach my colored belt students and work with them for competition. When they get to the point where they're at a high level and a black belt level competing at world's events or whatever, that's a different ballgame. You've worked 15 years up to that. You know what I mean? To go that hard. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gotcha. And I try to figure out a game plan for myself when it comes to training, like competition wise versus like just everyday training, because this is all new to me. So like getting a fight team together, trying to eat right, nutrition, and trying to find workouts that works well for me. So it's been like a culture shock, I guess you can say, when
Yep.
it comes to all this. So it's definitely good to get your your input on that, because
So it all depends on what you want out of it, right? So if you want to get the most bang for your buck, if you want to get the best you can get in the amount of time, you need to spend every awakening hour somehow dedicated to it, right? So when I'm resting and relaxing, I'm finding a way to recover, foam rolling, stretching, while I'm trying to study and watch instructionals or creating plans. And you know what I mean? I know you have kids and things like that, but there's always a little bit of time that you can put in for yourself, somewhere, right? But yeah, I try, and every waking hour in my life is dedicated to jiu-jitsu, whether that's rest and recovery, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
whether it's squeezing a nap and I need that nap, for recovery.
right,
Everything's revolved around jiu-jitsu for me.
yeah, pretty much. And I saw when it started to happen, when jiu-jitsu started just succumb to everything, and I just embraced it. I was like, yeah, come on,
Hell yeah.
let's get it. Like, I wake
Hell
up,
yeah.
I'm looking at like instructional videos or techniques, or threads that me and my training partner sent back and forth to each other. At work, I work with my instructor, so it's like we'll be in passing and we're like having a full-blown jiu-jitsu conversation.
So you don't get away from it.
I don't get away from it. If I come home,
Exactly.
it's this,
That's good.
so
That's good. You're immersed in it. That's what you got to do. You got to immerse yourself. You want to be a good musician, you got to immerse yourself in that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, same with anything. Like, you want to be good at anything, you got to immerse yourself into it.
Like, this is no longer a hobby. This is a lifestyle.
Big time.
Big time. And it's cool to meet people that kind of have that same mentality, because you meet people in the martial arts that be like, they might love the train, but they're not like 100% in it. But I got a group of guys on my phone that I can call and be like, hey, what y'all doing? Let's go to the mats. And they'll be like, all right, see you in 15-20 minutes.
Yep.
Like, just before we started, I was sitting here, I was like, well, I only got two shows to do today. I text him like, hey, what are you doing about 6 o'clock? He's like, I don't know, it depends. I'm like, we at the gym. He's like, all right. So
yeah, see, you already got shit. It's already set up, right? Like, right before we got on this podcast, I taught an hour and a half jiu-jitsu class today. Did a strength and conditioning, then taught an hour and a half jiu-jitsu class, and raced home, showered, podcast with you, and then right after here, I'm just gonna go to the hot tub and stretch and stuff for a while at the local gym.
Yeah,
because everything's revolved around, and then I'm gonna get chicken and veggies into my system, and
yeah, man, but we wouldn't want it any other way.
Well, that's it. Like, yeah, and I gotta stay focused, right? So,
I mean, because it's that it brings that inner peace. No matter what aspect of jiu-jitsu, as long as it's like jiu-jitsu related, it's going to bring that peace.
Oh yeah. And like my whole being is about like combat. You know what I mean? Just so I have to roll every day. Like, it's a mental thing. It's a mental therapy.
It is. It definitely is. Because like even like my wife, like, she'll be looking at me like, I'll literally be just leaving class and I'm sitting in the car and I'm like scrolling through Instagram watching jiu-jitsu videos. And I get home, I'm laying in bed watching jiu-jitsu videos, and she just be looking at me like, you just that addicted. I'm like, yeah.
Hey man, at least you're not at the bar 6 days a week. You're at jiu-jitsu 6 days a week.
Exactly. I tell her that. I was like, I could be anywhere else. I could be out in the streets. I could be at a bar somewhere getting drunk in that same amount of time. But no, I am at the gym.
You're an athlete.
24/7.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fuck
love it. Gotta love it. And plus my kids do it too. So
good.
Yeah, man. Everyone does jiu-jitsu around here.
Excellent, man. That's awesome to hear. Love it.
Man, I love it. I love it. They love it. My like especially my daughter, she's getting hooked onto it. So especially when she got her third stripe on her white belt a
Oh,
couple
cool.
weeks ago. So she's really like, ants and like just ready to learn. So
Yeah. Cool.
it's been very, very fun, man. Very, very fun. So kind of backtracking to like when it comes to competing, uh it's kind of one of those things where it's like, man, I jumped so late in the game, being a brown belt to starting to compete, because at tournaments, unless you're doing like worlds or anything else like that, you don't see a lot of high level people at these tournaments. Like you'll get buku loads of white belts, a huge handful of blue belts, and then like maybe like sprinkle of purple and brown and maybe one or two blacks. So it's like I would love to do tournaments a whole lot more, but it's like
Where are you?
Detroit, Michigan.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get Naga Grappling Industries here in Detroit.
Sometimes
Then
they
like
get like
Ohio will get there too.
sometimes there's like the IBJJF events. They'll have a lot of brown belts.
I haven't found one, or I don't know. I haven't seen any IBJJF ones for
There's
as
normally
close by here.
Chicago, Indianapolis, New Haven. They're all within like 7-8 hour drives away.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to do that yet.
Oh,
Like,
okay, I see.
make those
And then they have the
huge
Toronto
travel.
one. They have the Toronto IBJJF, which is September 16th. That's probably only 4 hours from you.
Yeah, that's
Right?
not. Yeah, Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, about three.
Yeah,
About 3
you
4
should
hours.
sign up
Yeah.
for that. I'll be at that one for sure.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
definitely look into that one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There's always brown belts for sure. It'd be a good opportunity for you.
Yeah, definitely excited for it, man. Because
Maybe one day we'll get you on the Cal Samrick card too, if you're only 4 hours away. Hit me up.
Not gonna turn it down, man.
Hit
Not
me
gonna
up.
turn it down, man. Yeah, definitely. We'll figure something out. We'll definitely
We'll get you a
figure
match
something
up.
out.
We'll get you a match.
That's wild, man. But I love it, man. Love the sport. Love the mental game behind it. Just from the people that I've talked to, from white belts up to like black belts and other higher ranks, it's just been like utterly amazing, man. So crazy how people found this sport.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's been around for a long time, right? So it's like these arts go through their waves and their stages, and they evolve and stuff like that, right? So it's cool.
Very, very, very cool. So so the school that you're at, you just teach there, right? Or are you own that school?
No, I don't own it. Actually, my best friend owns it, and I'm an instructor there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I teach there 3-4 days a week, and then there's two other black belts that also teach there as well. On the opposite shifts as myself, and yeah.
So you have so it's I guess I would assume like a fairly large school.
Oh yeah. We probably got 200 jiu-jitsu students. Probably close to 200 Muay Thai students. So it's a big academy. Yeah.
So what's like the average class size?
So today I had my Saturday class. There's probably 40 to 45 in our class.
My goodness.
And it ranged. We probably had 10 purple belts, 8 brown belts, whole shitload of blue belts, maybe 5 white belts.
That's a lot of people.
That's
a lot of people.
Yeah, it's especially when we get our gradings going. Oh my god, the places.
you sent me the video. You sent me that little clip of like the little ranking ceremony, and I'm just looking around at all these people. I'm like, this had to be like a 6-hour event.
Like ants everywhere.
A 2-day event, right? You just see like belts and colors flying all over the place. Getting ranked.
If you're getting graded and you're getting a belt, you're going in the middle and you're getting Shark Tanked by everybody for 90 minutes.
Oh god, dude.
Yeah, no water.
And I could
you gotta come hydrated.
Got to. I complain about the 10, 11 people that we see on our mats. And there's people like, yeah, man, our class is light, about 40, 45 people. Like, what?
Yeah.
No, that's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. So, and then at our gradings, we normally have 27 black belts on the mats,
Mm-hmm.
right? Normal class, we have 5 to 7 black belts on the mats in a normal class.
Mm-hmm. So the video you sent, that was just yours, that one like particular school, or it was like other schools there as well?
So that is our Rebel Alliance team. So there would be 2 other small academies there. So maybe
Mhm.
40 people extra. So they're all those people were from there, and so there's probably maybe just over 200 some in that picture probably. And maybe 180 were our guys.
My
Sort of
goodness,
idea.
that is a lot
And
of
we don't
people.
have 180 training at once all the time. It's spread out
No,
from.
of course.
We have 3 classes a day. We got 6 a.m. We have noon, then we have evenings, right? And
Right.
so people are all over the place, shift workers, and yeah.
Hey, what you do, like the afternoon classes, I assume, or morning class?
So at my work, I run a big community center with pools and hot tubs and gyms and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I work shifts. I work like 2 weeks afternoons and 2 weeks days. So when I work afternoons, I teach in the noon classes, and when I work days, I teach evening classes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, because just one of the things that I talked to my instructor about is trying to find that balance of being an instructor and a trainer. Because I was asking him, like, you never see too many black belts or really higher ranked people. He's like, well, 'cause a lot of people who are black belts are school owners, so you don't get to see, then they don't get a chance to train how they want to train to fight or compete and run a school at the same time. So they're just gonna pick one that's gonna be more, I guess you would say, lucrative for them, which would be the school. So
Yeah, it all depends on the area too, right? Like
Mhm.
for example, you might be more of a rural area, whereas like in Toronto, my headquarters, which is Action Reaction, which is Cicero Costa Canada headquarters,
Mhm.
um, there's probably 50 black belts there. You know what I mean? That, like, maybe some of them might own schools, but not all of them. Most of them are just
Mhm.
students, right? They're just students that, you know, no different than when they were blue belts. They're black belts, and they've had their black belts, some of them 10 years, and they're still students.
Mhm.
If every one of those black belts opened a club, oh my god, that would be insane. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Of
Yeah.
course.
So
Of
even
course.
like myself, like I'm never gonna open a club because my best friend owns a club, and all the clubs in the Durham region area, like Oshawa, BJJ, like those are all my friends, right? So
Mhm.
I'm never going to open a club and step on toes.
Right.
My thing is seminars. I do seminars. I like to do like seminar tours. I teach at the Globetrotters camp. I do the BJ Fanatics instructionals. That's my thing. It
Mhm.
keeps me from stepping on people's toes by opening up a club because everybody's already my friend. You know what I
Right.
mean? I already have
Mhm.
access to every club around. So I don't really need to open up a place for my own training, right? And if I
Right.
open up a place for my own training a little bit of ways that where I didn't step on toes, well, now I'm slacking on my own training because I'm not going to have these partners because I got to teach all the
'Cause
time,
you gotta teach all the time. Yeah.
right? So yeah, I teach 3 days a week at my academy that I'm at, but I'm also training with the black belts in Toronto the other days of the weeks, you know?
Mhm.
So I
Well,
enjoy that balance of having my own hard training and teaching and not owning a club. It's
right.
kind of like borrowing your niece and nephew for a couple hours and you can give them back when you're
Yeah,
done.
you
You don't
come
have, you
back.
don't own them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
definitely.
don't
I
got to
get
worry
it.
about it. I teach and train and enjoy life.
And just give them back, and then, like you said, just enjoy life. But that's I guess with me, because it's not that many jujitsu schools here in Detroit, or in, like, I guess you want to say, in the surrounding area, versus somewhere like Canada or like Florida, Cali, where it's like everyone floods to those places, and there's like a school, like, you can throw a rock in the wind and find a jujitsu school. Here, they're very sporadic, so that's
Yeah.
the kind of thing I think about too when it comes to, like, if I wanted to, eventually down the line, open my own school and the area and all this stuff, other stuff. But that's another few years in the future before I even consider doing that. You know.
Yeah.
I'm still getting myself together.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
like definitely, man. So you got any events coming up?
Yeah, actually, I'm 10 days out from the IBGF Pans in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was I about to ask about that? So because I know when it comes to like Pans and IBJJF, I guess they do stuff a little bit different than like grappling industries and whatnot. So because I really don't know the difference between like
So
a
the
IBJJF.
IBGF Opens, like the Chicago Opens, they're like 1-star events. And then like the Pans is a 4-star event, Worlds and Worlds Masters is a 5-star event, I believe. So
Mhm.
there's like levels of events, right? So Pans is like, the big one. I want to make the podium in Pans. If it's a big deal
Mhm.
to me. Yeah. So Worlds, like IBGF Worlds Masters and Pans, like those are the big ones.
Mhm.
Other than, and then Nogi ADCC.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Because I like I said, this is all new to me, even like competing. So like when you hear people picking Naga over grappling industries or grappling industries over this over that, it's like
Okay. So Naga and Grappling Industries is your local tournaments.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're gonna get your like your recreational practitioners,
Mhm.
and then in your bigger events, you're gonna get like there'd be like state size events,
Mhm.
and then there would be like for us, like I don't know how yours works, but ours is like there'd be local tournaments. Then there's regional tournaments. Then
Mhm.
there's provincial size tournaments. Then there's national size tournaments. Then there's international size tournaments. And you would work your way up, right?
Mhm.
So grappling industries and Naga, that's the local. That's your local tournament.
Your
And then
white belt.
if you had like a state championship, then that would be like your provincials or your state championship,
Mhm.
right?
Man, that's a lot.
And then IBJJF is the biggest organization holding jiu-jitsu tournaments, and they're going to have the most prestigious awards. Your ultimate goal is to get like your medals in the IBJJF. In order to really compete in the IBJJF, you want to work your way up in the local scene first, and build your skills up, and test yourself out in a lower talent pool first before you work your way up to IBGF, where it's
Yeah.
going to be serious athletes that are, training almost full time.
Yeah, and I'm not quite there just yet,
Well,
like
you don't know till you get in there, right?
what's
You can
true.
surprise yourself, and that's how you build confidence in yourself. Is when you
Mhm.
don't think you're there yet. That might not be the case,
Yeah, you're right.
right?
You're totally right. Cause I missed Naga. That was like here a couple weeks ago, but grappling industries will be back in April. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do that one like regardless of what. So that was definitely gonna get done.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So um, what else could I ask? I mean, unless you had any questions for me, I'm trying to think of what else to ask you here. Let's see. Could we talk about
Well, I got
competing?
a couple months. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Globetrotters camp in Maine coming up. That's going to be really fun. That's
Okay.
always good times. Yeah.
So
It's like
I
a
know
week camp.
someone else talked about Jiu Jitsu Globetrotters, but what exactly is it? Like, is this like a
Basically it's a camp where there's like 200 people from all over the world that
Mhm.
come to this camp, and we like there's classes all day long, open mats all day long. Your food's hot and ready, cooked for you after training, and it's like a week of like all-inclusive jiu-jitsu vacation.
You said when is it?
This is in June. Yeah.
Oh.
May 29th to June 4th it is. But it's already sold out now. You got to get the ticket like a year in advance. When it goes up for sale, like tickets go for sale, don't last long.
Mhm.
It lasts like 3 weeks. Yeah, and I tell all my students, I'm like, man, if you want to come, you just buy your ticket or put your deposit down to save your spot. And if you can't go for any reason, you sell your ticket, and people on the site will snatch up your ticket in a heartbeat. Yeah, dude, it's awesome. It's like so much fun. Like you wake up, there's breakfast, coffee, everything like that, and a nice buffet. You got like class, yoga class first, and then you got a class, open mat. So each class, you don't do warm up and nothing like that. It's just technique, right? Like seminars. So like seminar, and then a 2-hour open mat. Then lunch. Then seminar, open mat. Then seminar, open mat. Then dinner. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. So it's literally just all day. Just
you don't have to do all of
them.
Yeah, you don't have to do all of them. Some people do 2 classes and an open mat in the day, and the rest of the time they're like in the lake, they're gone fishing or hiking, or it's in Maine, so there's so much like nature activity to do as well. Right? So it's pretty cool, and it's the USA camp is stationed in basically like a youth camp, like a rich kids youth camp that it gets rented out for the week. And you stay in cabins with your team. Like I'm going down with 10 of my students and friends, and we stay in this cabin, and you got all beds there, like a military kind of, and it's just training and having fun for the week. As soon as training's done after dinner, you just you got like campfires, and you're making s'mores, and people are cracking a couple beers and eating gummy bears, and you know what I'm saying.
It's a good camp.
Yeah, it's a good time, bro. It's a good time.
Oh wow, that sounds like a damn good time.
It is, man. And so like the instructors, there's like 15 instructors from all over the world that are awesome at jiu-jitsu, and they lead the show, and they're fun, and everybody just mingles and has a good time. And as soon as camp is done, everybody stays connected and in touch. Like, man, I know black belts and colored belts. I know white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, and black belts in every single state. You know what I'm saying? Because of the Globetrotters and teaching at these camps. So, yeah, I'm very grateful that I have the opportunity to teach at these camps for sure.
That's awesome.
And then in November is the Arizona camp that I'm going to, and that's going to be fun. But that's different. That one you don't stay in a cabin or nothing. That one there you stay in like a hotel or an Airbnb. And the camp is at Jay Page's academy, a nice big academy. He's like a fight to win contender or champion, so he's really good at jiu-jitsu. But the camp is at his academy, and basically, we just go there, train, together after, and shoots the shit, and so there are 2 different styles of camps: the USA main camp and the Arizona camp. But they're both awesome. They're both fun.
It sounds. I mean, it's jiu-jitsu, so it sounds like a good time regardless.
You're around 200 other people that have the same mindset as you. Like, how could you not have fun?
Right.
And something too about competing, like we were talking about, is I kind of see it like this too. Like, I don't need to get nervous in a match. If everybody gets nervous before they compete, or sometimes people avoid competing, that person that I'm competing against is very similar to me. They got the same perspectives, probably the same passion. They're the same everything, right? So competing shouldn't make you nervous. You should actually be like grateful that you're getting to share the match with somebody who's just like you. Right. Because when else would you be able to bump into that person ever in your life? Never. Other than that moment.
Right.
Right?
Definitely. And I talked to the few guys that I competed against at the last tournament. I think I forgot what tournament he said he's going to do, but he'll be on the show like sometime next month or so. But yeah, man, I love talking to people. Like, I love talking to, like, especially when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Like you mentioned jiu-jitsu, like my ears perk up. Like we're gonna be here for another 3 hours.
Like my cauliflower ear tingle. By the way, I actually I'm not sure if I can get this one out or not. Like I can't even get them in, so I cram this one in, and now I think it's stuck.
I can't do the cauliflower ears, man.
I can't help it.
I know it comes with it, but man, the few times that like I rode and I caught a very, very rough gi elbow to the grind to the ear, and I just felt it just, on fire. I was like, please no, please no, please no. So,
See, for me, if my fingers and my ears are not sore and in agony, I'm not training hard enough.
man,
That's how I see it for me. But I have different goals.
yeah, yeah. I'm still kind of like in the air of what I want to do because like I love the sport. I'm going to keep training regardless, but I'm like, okay, do I want to actually go into like the competing side more, or do I want to like stay where I'm at, or go more like the teaching side? So
don't forget, it's only open mats.
right.
So there is no choice whether you want to compete or not. If you want to do jiu-jitsu, competing is a part of it.
Yeah, I see that now.
So-
I see that now for sure.
So I tell my students this. I say, listen, if you come to the club all the time and you're training all the time, what you're doing is you're playing catch.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing catch all the time. You're hitting a ball all the time. You're practicing. But yet you never want to play a game of baseball, beer league baseball. You'll play catch every day of your life, but you won't play a game of fucking baseball that's just for fun.
Yeah,
How does that make any sense? You want to go play golf, you go to a driving range, you're hitting the driver, you hit 100 balls every single day. But the thought of doing 18 holes, you're like, fuck it. Like, how does that make sense?
But that was me, because they was like, people ask you like, like, do you compete? Do you like, or do you, do you fight? I'm like, nah, that ain't for me. But I'll be like, yeah, I train 3-4 days a week. And then now that I, actually did my first couple tournaments, I'm hooked. So
remember, in the training room, you're training. When you compete, that's just doing jiu-jitsu.
okay.
You're in the training room, you're only developing skills.
Mhm.
On the competition mat, that's actually doing jiu-jitsu. So again, you have to understand the rules of the sport and how the game is played in order to actually do jiu-jitsu correctly. Because I have a lot of brown belts and black belts that I see that don't know the game inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
So the rolling they're doing in the club isn't actually jiu-jitsu. They're just doing a whole bunch of moves that they've learned over 15 years without the actual rule set and strategy behind it.
Mm.
Rule, strategy, and the moves you've learned all go together to do jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like here's an example. If you pass my guard right now,
mm-hmm.
and I accept side control bottom, that's not jiu-jitsu. There's no such thing as side control bottom.
Mm-hmm.
If you pass my guard, I need to fight tooth and nail to never accept guard pass points.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. So I have to get back to my feet, get my guard back, something, but not accept side control. So people who are accepting side control bottom are not doing jiu-jitsu. You're just right. You're just doing moves.
Yeah.
Right. You can't accept side control bottom. You got to fight tooth and nail. Push that head away. Get back to your feet. Do what you got to do to not accept those points.
Those bad positions.
And that's why there's a point system, because it's objectives along the way, like a video game. You don't just get to the end. You have objectives to get to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the point system of jiu-jitsu is guiding you down the objectives.
Gotcha. I see that now. Because like I'm like, damn man, I should have competed. I should have started doing tournaments a long time ago. But
so there's on YouTube, there's type in IBJJF rules tutorial. There's 18 5-minute rules videos. Okay. You need to study those inside and out to understand how to play the game of jiu-jitsu in order to know how to roll in the club.
All right, I'm about to look that up right.
You know what I'm saying?
You said, what's it called?
IBJJF rules tutorial. Okay, right. And then there's 18 videos there. One 5-minute video is all on sweeps, how to get sweeps, how to defend sweeps, how to score advantages, blah blah blah. And the next one's about mount, the next one's about penalties, next one's about this and that. All those have to be understood. And here's the thing. with those videos, I started watching those videos 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And every single month that goes by, I will find something new out of those videos.
Mm.
You almost have to like develop a month of jiu-jitsu to find something new into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be studied over and over and over, just like a university course. You know?
Yeah.
That's my greatest advice to you if you want to become good at competing, because it's not about who's better. It's about who plays the game correctly.
Gotcha. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the nuggets of wisdom, man.
Got you, bro.
But so this is a a general question I ask everybody who comes on. But you've competed a lot, so I know you ran to a lot of faces. But right now, who would be your top 3 roles that you would like to get in?
Competing against?
Yep, or just a friendly role. Like if you could pick anybody in jiu-jitsu, like I would like to roll with XYZ. Like who would that be?
Oh man, that's a good question. One of my friends, Fabio Jesus, from Brazil. I haven't rolled with him, but I've trained with him a few times. He's a great mentor for me.
Mhm.
I would definitely like to get a roll in with him, and I will this summer. So definitely with him.
Mhm.
Christian Grogart, BJJ Globetrotters owner, awesome jiu-jitsu, super cool guy.
Mhm.
Amazing journey. He's always fun to roll with. I'll be rolling with him in June as well. He's another guy I would love rolling with.
Mhm.
Very dynamic. And I don't know. Maybe Andrew Wiltsey. I'd like to feel Andrew Wiltsey's game for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah, that'd be my third one, Andrew Wiltsey.
Nice. Yeah, because like I had asked one person that question, and then like I forgot about the question, and everybody was like, who was messaging me about the show, like, man, you forgot, you keep forgetting to ask the question. So I'm making it a point now to ask everyone that question, who was they, their dream roles to roll with. So, but yeah,
It was cool to work with. I got to work with Bernardo Faria for a couple hours when I was in Boston for the BJJ Fanatics there.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is super cool. That was a great experience of sharing knowledge and jiu-jitsu information with a 8-time world champion. So that was really cool too.
Wealth of knowledge right there.
Unreal.
But yeah, man, unless you got anything else, man, I would like you to shout out your school. I know you already said the events that you got coming up, man, but the floor is still yours, man.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I just want to let everybody know too that I have 6 BJJ Fanatics instructionals on bjfanatics.com. My name is Kyle Sleeman. I have a guard passing connections instructional, looking at systems and sequences to connect your guard passes to be able to confuse and stun your opponent into good situations. We have a mount one. We have side control, where there's like 3 hours of just side control submissions and maintenance positions. We have X guard, 3 hours on the X guard and single leg X. I have an instructional on a position that I've kind of created, and there's a spider webs of sequences off of it. It's called the Slee guard, and it is a knee shield style position, like a double knee shield style position, but it's different. It's the Slee guard. It's great. So there's my instructionals formulate a big web and a game plan. So my guard passes work into my guard passing connection works into my side control instructional. And then if you don't submit from side, then we go to mount. Then I have my mount instructional to finish off from there. If we're on our back, we got X guard if your opponent's standing. If your opponent's kneeling, we have the Slee guard. Mm-hmm. So we have every single basis covered in these instructionals. And BJJ Globetrotters camps are awesome. Guys, make sure you check out bjjglobetrotters.com. There's tons of camps all over the world. Every month they are somewhere in the world. Check it out. It definitely gave me a new love for jiu-jitsu when I went there the first time as a brown belt. I fell back in love with jiu-jitsu. I was like, damn, this is awesome. Like,
Right.
and I've been going twice a year since then. So I've been going about 6 years now, I guess. Yeah, shout out to my students and Brennan Kalagenic at Cal Samrat Martial Arts. Shout out to Team Cicero Costa Canada. Shout out to Oshawa BJJ, Igor and Janine Mulkyber. You guys are awesome. You help me a lot, and you're awesome in our community. So,
man, that's definitely awesome. And I'll get the links from you. So I'll have them on the page so that everybody can check out your awesome videos. And when you sent me some the other day, and I was looking at the thumbnail, I was like, damn, I've seen this before. So I've watched a couple of your videos before. But
cool.
Very knowledgeable, man. Very knowledgeable guy here. So he knows what he's talking about for sure.
Thank you, brother.
All right, man. And that's it for today. I would like to thank my guest, Kyle, one more time for coming on the show and sharing all his vast knowledge and wisdom. Please go and follow us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube to stay updated on all future episodes. This has been Talk Your Jits podcast. Keep rolling, keep grinding, and remember, long live Jiu Jitsu. Have a great day.
Peace.
And we're done.